最大的危机啊。
Currently, the biggest crisis in our entire dating and marriage market isn't that getting married is becoming more expensive, nor is it about high divorce rates or low marriage rates. While those issues are serious, what is the most serious issue? It is that the old-fashioned type of ordinary guy, the one who is willing to settle down and sacrifice a lot for a wedding and a marriage, has started to withdraw. He is no longer participating in the competition for marriage. He's quitting the game. There's a situation right now where, whether online or offline, the number of women participating in matchmaking is generally higher than men. In some specific cities at offline matchmaking gatherings, the gender ratio is even more imbalanced. The number of men going to matchmaking events is truly getting fewer and fewer. You see, back in the day, we used to talk about introducing someone, dating, and falling in love, but now it's called the marriage market. From this change in terminology, we can sense that things are indeed a bit different. What is a market for? It's for making transactions. And in today's matchmaking, women demand temperament, looks, appearance, and figure, while men are required to have height, looks, income, assets, a car, a house, a bride price, parents with pensions, etc. Isn't this just bartering? The current marriage market has truly become very close to a transaction. Actually, if we were simply talking about an equal exchange of material value, what could we call it? Matches of equal social standing. Min dang hu DUI. We use this term to make it sound a bit nicer. But what is the actual situation now? In the entire marriage market, there is no standard system for measuring value. The entire transaction is extremely unreasonable and extremely unbalanced. The current marriage market is just a public bidding process. As a girl, as long as, let's just say, your appearance, looks, and temperament are passable, you can come and participate in the bidding, and then proceed to filter a massive number of men based on height, looks, personality, savings, income, and how much they can offer in terms of a car, house, and bride price. I remember many years ago, there was a popular saying, if you can't find true love, then I'll just find a rich man and get married. But nowadays, it seems people don't even have the patience to look for true love. When a guy meets a girl, he practically wants the first sentence to be, how much bride price do you want? When a girl meets a guy, she also practically wants the first sentence to be, how much of a car, house, and bride price can you prepare? It used to be that if we really couldn't find true love, then we'd look for a rich person. But now people have no patience to search for true love at all. After all, whether it is true love or if personalities are compatible takes a long time to discover. But whether you have money or not can be seen at a glance. Starting from a perspective of marriage, reasonable material requirements are actually understandable. After all, the economic base determines the superstructure. But what is the situation now? The height of material requirements for marriage has exceeded reality by too much. It is simply unacceptable. A stable job, a monthly income of over 10,000 renminbi, approximate 1,400 US dollars, a local household registration, a car and a house with no loans, a height of no less than 1.75 meters, handsome, preferably with abs, parents who both have pensions, and on top of that, high EQ and knowing how to create surprises. These requirements are merely the entry-level criteria to enter the marriage market. But conservatively speaking, it is not an exaggeration to say that these requirements eliminate more than 95% of men, is it? Therefore, a grounded, sincere boy who is willing to work hard and has correct values often gains no advantage in the current marriage market. He gets no results, and no one will like him. Yet this type of guy is the fundamental base of the entire marriage market. Only they are willing to sacrifice for marriage, take responsibility for the family, and bear the burdens of marriage and family life. But they repeatedly face setbacks and simply cannot find a partner. Men with good conditions don't need to go to matchmaking. Ordinary men with average conditions are willing to bear the responsibilities of marriage and family and sacrifice for the wedding, but matchmaking is useless for them. So, these ordinary men are gradually starting to leave the scene. And once these traditional men stop playing completely and stop going to matchmaking altogether, then the entire marriage market will truly be left with only women, and it can truly just close up shop and call it a day.
来看视频。
Let's watch the video. She discusses why the infidelity rate is getting higher and higher. Let's hear what she has to say.
Future infidelity rates will only continue to rise, not because of sexual thirst, but because of sexual repression. Eileen Chung once said, The vagina is the passage to a woman's heart. As women, we need to know that sex is not only the path to a woman's heart, but also the path to a man's heart. Of course, if there is no connection, even if two people live together, they will be like strangers and problems will sooner or later arise in the relationship. Nowadays, in marital relationships, the most frequent problem is infidelity. Between a couple, if even one person experiences long-term neglect or pressure, given the many temptations in the outside world today, for those with weak self-control and a weak sense of responsibility, the probability of cheating will increase significantly. At WAME, we have tens of thousands of cases, of course, and we see that the simplest way to solve this problem is actually to learn to directly express needs within the marriage. Observe some people around you. Those who are braver in stating their needs actually gain more, and naturally, they feel more satisfaction in the relationship. Whether in marital relationships or social relationships, harmony is very important. But for those who are more repressed and dare not express themselves, for example, I am embarrassed to talk to my partner about my preferences, my feelings, what kind of foreplay or positions I want, etc. The result is that not only do they not get satisfied, but the partner might also dislike them or find it very boring. Therefore, we say that sex is not just sex. The needs and meanings behind it represent being understood, being respected, and being needed. As a woman, rather than repressing yourself until the relationship breaks down, it is better to be brave within the relationship.
Do you agree with her point of view?
谈恋爱男的为什么不舍得？
Why are men reluctant to spend money or unwilling to spend money when dating? Calling it stingy misses the simplest logic. If you spend all your money on one relationship or wipe out half your savings in one go, how are you supposed to get married if you date someone else later? Can you even afford to marry? How long would you have to save up before you dare to start another relationship that aims for marriage? Besides, whether we break up or make it to that stage, who can say for sure? Which woman dares to stand up and say, "Don't worry, I will definitely marry you. I will certainly be your wife. Just feel secure spending money on me." Who dares to say that, right? You wouldn't dare either. And yet you keep thinking I'm stingy for not spending on you. We're not even talking about how much the guy earns here. I'm just asking, isn't this the logic? Let's say a guy is pretty impressive. How many times does he dare to date seriously? He spends heavily on you, but what if things don't work out elsewhere? What if you argue or bicker? What if you break up? If you want to break up, aren't there plenty of excuses? No matter how much I spend on you, you could say I have a bad temper, I'm emotionally unstable, or you could say I'm a mama's boy. As long as you want to dump me, you'll find a way. And then what? After we break up, are you going to return that bag worth several 10,000 yuan, approximate 4,200 US dollars? After we break up, are you going to return that phone worth over 10,000 yuan, approximate 1,400 US dollars that I bought you? After we break up, are you going to transfer the money back? Are you? Will you return it? Right, you can't return it, and if I ask for it, I'll definitely get roasted by you. So, if you say I'm reluctant to spend money while dating, if you were my mother and I were your son, how would you view this? Let's stop applying that domineering CEO trope to the ordinary men of today, okay? Many women really don't see reality clearly. They always think that just because this guy is dating me, he must be locked in, thinking I will definitely be his future wife. So you must have that all-in kind of generosity towards me. What? Do you think I don't have my own mental accounting? And let's be real, for most of the men that women call stingy, claiming they wouldn't spend a dime in 6 months or a year. Why is that? Because some men really don't have much money. Just the shared expenses already put a lot of pressure on them. So in the women's eyes, they fall into the spent nothing category. To women, shared expenses aren't considered money spent on them. But if you ask the woman to shoulder the shared expenses, then you're a moocher. Only when you buy expensive things or transfer cash do they consider that money spent on them. So, men being unwilling to spend money in relationships is mostly related to the woman as well. The woman hasn't been very generous either. So, those people who call men stingy, they aren't exactly generous themselves, got it?
现在就是普遍的男人是达到
The reality nowadays is that the average man cannot meet women's demands. How could they? Why didn't she discuss these things with her previous boyfriends? She wants a car, a house, and a bride price. She should have demanded this from every single one of them. She didn't ask the previous 3, but she starts asking you. Doesn't that make you a massive sucker? If we're talking about tradition, bride price is traditional. So a traditional bride price matches a traditional woman. There's no fault in that. But after dating 3 or 5 guys, she starts asking you for a bride price here? That is completely unreasonable. She keeps what benefits her and discards what doesn't. Collecting a bride price benefits her. When mentioned that she dated several guys before, she says she was immature back then. You say you were immature before, but now you're sensible with me? You asked for nothing from previous boyfriends, but claim to be sensible now with me? So, when it gets to me, I become the sucker, right? If we're treating everyone equally, you should have negotiated with the previous ones too. Did the previous ones disagree? So, now she's asking me? A 40-year-old who isn't married yet, has a secure government job, iron rice bowl, and is 175 centimeters tall. He would have been married long ago. How could he possibly be looking for your daughter, right? It's impossible for him to be left over on the market. If you can accept a divorced man born in 85, I think your daughter might have an easier time getting married. If you want someone never married, a guy born in 85 who is still single, his conditions are definitely poor. Don't set your standards too high, or she'll just be playing by herself. The biggest problem in the matchmaking market is that women's standards are generally too high. The personal conditions of men today simply cannot reach women's requirements.
成都相亲市场上哈又出大瓜了，你们
There is some big gossip in the Chengdu matchmaking market again. Did you know? A girl wanted to go on a trip with a guy, and the guy directly blocked her. It happened just a few days ago. A guy from our area went on a blind date with a girl. At first, they chatted quite well, met a few times, and were about to make the relationship official. Suddenly, the girl suggested going on a trip with the guy over the weekend. She probably thought that traveling is a great way to test a man's character. The guy thought it was okay, so he agreed. However, the girl insisted on staying in a 5-star hotel, fearing that ordinary hotels wouldn't be clean. Although the guy felt it was a bit exaggerated, he thought since it was their first trip together, he should be generous, so he booked the 5-star hotel. Later, when he went back and told his friend about this, his friend felt something was odd. He said that both the guy and the girl are working-class people. The girl's monthly income is only a few thousand yuan, approximates several hundred USD, and her family background is very average, yet she demands to stay in a 5-star hotel when traveling. Moreover, the bag she was carrying last time was a luxury item, which definitely wasn't cheap. The guy started to have doubts, so he asked the girl, "Do you always stay in 5-star hotels when you go out?" The girl said yes. The guy then asked, "What brand is that bag of yours? It looks like good quality. How much was it?" The girl said her bag was a Dior, costing over 20,000 yuan, approximate 2,800 US dollars. Upon hearing this, the guy immediately said, "We are not going on this trip. I just feel that I am not suitable for you. Let's just forget it." The girl was very angry hearing this, calling the guy stingy and petty for being reluctant to book a hotel. The guy didn't intend to argue with her, but she kept calling him relentlessly, insisting that he explain things clearly. The guy then said, "We both come from ordinary families and are working class. You carry a designer bag and must stay in 5-star hotels when you go out. Let me just ask you one thing. Where do this consumption habit and your money come from? If you earned it yourself, it means you live paycheck to paycheck, Moonlight Clan, or you are overspending, spending on credit. In that case, our consumption values probably don't match, so we shouldn't be together. But if your bag was given by someone else and your consumption habits were fostered by someone else, then there's even less to discuss. I don't want to be a japanksia, a sucker/someone who cleans up the mess." Then the guy blocked the girl.
我有一个强烈预感啊，
I have a strong premonition that within 3 years, many women will definitely panic completely, even actively lowering their standards to find a partner. Just looking at this year, many girls are rushing to get married, forcing their boyfriends to borrow money to scrape together the bride price, buying this and that, feeling that men should bear these burdens. But guess what? Men nowadays have long since stopped caring. It's not that they don't want to get married. It's that they really can't afford to date or marry anymore. They just put it plainly, if you want to marry, let's marry. If not, forget it, I'm quitting the game. Many people haven't realized a key point. The current dating market is no longer one where men must beg women. On the contrary, there are significantly more women than men seeking, because men have figured it out. If a marriage starts with borrowing money to make up the numbers and then unilateral sacrifice, the future is full of pitfalls. It's better to live freely alone. In a few years, it will be even more interesting. Older women will age, but young girls just entering the market are willing to accept mature older men and don't fuss over those superficial requirements. As for men, they are either used to single life or would rather wait for someone compatible than compromise themselves for the sake of marriage. By then, even if women figure it out and stop caring about financial power or whether their name is on the house deed, men might not be willing to engage anymore. After all, when you pressured him back then, his heart had already turned cold. Now, he has choices. You see, it could have been fine. Women could have calmly found someone with compatible values and slowly developed feelings. But many have been led astray by the trend of demanding this and that for marriage, forcing men to shoulder everything and ultimately ruining a good hand of cards. When that time comes, they can only hurriedly lower their standards. Getting married at all will be something to thank the heavens for. Actually, men don't ask for much, just to be respected and understood. They don't want marriage to turn into poverty alleviation or a tribulation. If women could see through this sooner, stop taking men's contributions for granted, and find someone willing to work hard together, why would it end up in such a panic?
我90年的35岁，博士学历。
I was born in 1990, I am 35 years old, and I hold a PhD. After graduating from university, I worked as a flight attendant and a university lecturer, and now I have my own company. When I was young, I was foolish and consumed too much toxic chicken soup, toxic self-help advice. I often saw posts online saying that men are unreliable, and that we girls must rely on ourselves and be financially independent. So, I worked desperately hard, strove to make money, and strove to improve myself. It has been over 10 years now. I bought a car, bought a house in my hometown, and have some savings of my own. But looking back, what I have, married people also have, and they might even have more. The most important thing is that they have their own children and happy families. And what about me? In the end, I am all alone. Sometimes when I come home and want to talk, there isn't even a single person beside me. Therefore, I especially want to tell young sisters not to be influenced by that toxic advice or have extreme thoughts, and especially not to give up on marriage just to blindly pursue financial independence. You girls need to consider your views on marriage when you are 17 or 18, and decide whether you want to get married, because 20 is the legal marriage age stipulated by the state. So we need to plan our lives early. Don't wait until you reach my age to regret it.
一说男多女少，光棍娶不上媳妇。
As soon as they hear that there are more men than women and single men can't find wives, these single, divorced, older leftover women, Shangnu, get overjoyed. I'll tell you the truth, kiddos. Do you know how many men have pockets full of money, cars, and houses, yet they won't marry you? Look at you bunch of old dames, these used cars, these older leftover women. You've scared these men witless. They are afraid that you'll dig out their houses and cars. You meet someone online and immediately start demanding food and drink and borrowing money from them. Can't you survive on your own? Do you know how many men earn over 10,000 renminbi, approximate $1,400 a month, and have several hundred thousand RMB, approximate $28,000 to $70,000 USD, in their pockets but won't take a wife? It's because they are scared by you. It's not that he won't take a wife, it's not that he can't get a wife, it's that he's damn afraid of marrying an ancestor, a high-maintenance burden, like you who will run off. He's afraid that after paying a high price to marry you, you'll still let others pick you up. Other men buy you food and drink and you run off with them. If someone invites you for skewers, you go. If someone invites you for hot pot, you go. If someone invites you to room 308, you go. You foolish women, let me tell you, nowadays some men would rather stay single than marry. Which man over 30 with several hundred thousand, tens of thousands of USD, in his pocket, a car, and a house is going to want you? Look at you women in your 30s, what do you have? You're poor as dirt, left with nothing but a basin body, and you're still showing off. Wait a few more years when the water and electricity are cut off. Menopause/aging. And let's see if you can still show off. Now that you are in your 30s or around 40, you still have some value to be picked up. And others can still use you to quench their thirst. Wait a few more years and see who wants you. What's even more infuriating is that women nowadays are worthless. To tell you the truth about how worthless they are, listen up, kiddos. Some women who abandon their husbands and children go out daydreaming, wanting to find an older leftover man to marry them, wanting to live an easy life. Do you know how cheap some women have become? Some are dating, and the man isn't willing to spend several $100,000 tens of thousands of USD to marry her. But this woman is so cheap and can't support herself that she partners up, cohabits with him just for some food and drink, letting him sleep with her. Some get played for decades, some for over 10 years, some for 2 or 3 years, some for several months. If she meets a suitable one, she kicks this sucker aside and switches to the next. If she doesn't meet a suitable one, she just sleeps with this man and eats what's in front of her. Why? Because she can't support herself. You want to marry this man and demand several $100,000, tens of thousands of USD, but he won't give it. So what does she do? Earning a salary of 3 or 4,000 RMB, approximate $420 to $560 USD, isn't enough to support herself, so she has to skimp and save, eating and drinking off this man, letting him sleep with her, and partnering up to live together. That's how partnering up comes about. She wants him to marry her and spend the several $100,000 she demands, but he won't give it. Yet this woman can't bear to leave him. She still wants to eat and drink off him, using her basin to exchange for food and drink. She earns a few thousand herself or just lets him keep her for food and drink. She wants to enter his family door, but he doesn't want her. He figures, I can sleep with her this way or that way, so why spend several $100,000 just to sleep with her? So he doesn't marry, he just keeps sleeping with her. Some women, you just go play with yourselves. When the power and water are cut off, no one will want you anyway. Enough is enough.
自从各路权势
Since the boxers, radical feminists/keyboard warriors, jumped into the fray and crashed the simp economy, the sisters have started to flock to the so-called old-school boyfriend. So what is an old-school boyfriend? Simply put, they are the men these women used to look down on. Guys who don't understand rituals, can't provide emotional value, care too much about face, love to lecture, act a bit unsophisticated, would rather eat pig trotter rice at a local dive than queue for 2 hours for internet-famous Western food. Men with a bit of male chauvinism. Now, given a new identity, they are allowed at the table and have become hot commodities among the sisters. In the past, these guys were textbook negative examples. Social media was full of posts roasting them. Why has the wind changed so completely? The answer is simple. The sisters can't take advantage of the new school boyfriends, so they are panicking. After all, the new generation of men emphasizes equality and will absolutely not make unilateral sacrifices. Once they realize the relationship is unequal, they cut their losses decisively. They simply won't be simps. By contrast, the virtues of the old-school boyfriend stand out. They reject going Dutch AA, insist on paying the bill, frequently transfer money, give gifts, order takeout for the girl, enable intimate payment features, hand over their salary cards, and stubbornly believe this is how a man should be. Although they have many flaws, at least they are willing to be suckers and pay the bills for the sisters, right? For those used to being fawned over and enjoying the gender dividend, if they can't even extract benefits anymore, does objectification even matter? However, in the past, men were willing to be old-school boyfriends because girlfriends also shouldered corresponding responsibilities. But in recent years, some sisters have undergone a cyber awakening. On one hand, preaching the deresponsabilization of women and crafting an independent woman persona. On the other hand, refusing to allow men to shed their responsibilities, claiming accepting gifts doesn't equal consent, rationalizing their behavior of taking without giving, and forcibly breaking this balance. In this environment, continuing to be an old-school boyfriend only leads to being exploited to the bone, so naturally, no one wants to be an old-school boyfriend anymore. Now that the sisters realize where the problem lies, they are slamming on the brakes. Those who used to treat old-school boyfriends as a joke to be mocked are now praising them to the skies. Those who love to incite gender conflict are now opposing gender opposition. Those who shouted about not marrying or having kids are now talking about the benefits of marriage. In the end, just like the imperial powers and compradors missed the Qing dynasty, what they miss is never the old-school boyfriend, but that old era where they could take all the benefits without lifting a finger. They haven't discovered the goodness of honest men. They are just panicking because they can no longer take advantage of them.
以前的土匪戴着面纱，
Bandits of the past wore veils. Bandits of today wear wedding dresses. In the past, they robbed your gold and silver jewelry. Now, they hold a certificate and directly lock down the rest of your life. Without guns, without climbing walls, they use the word marriage to hollow out your person, your money, and your freedom. You think today's women want affection, but many just want to sign a stable contract for extraction. They say, I'm after you as a person. I'm not after your money. But in the end, you buy the house, you pay for the car, you provide the bride price, and you still have to do the housework, only for her to look at you with dissatisfaction and ask, why are you becoming more and more useless? Bandits of the past robbed you once in a lifetime. Bandits of today collect rent monthly and issue orders yearly. If you disobey, she says you don't love her anymore. You talk logic, she talks feelings, you talk about pressure. She says you're escaping, you want to quit. She throws one sentence at you. You are irresponsible. Bandits of the past stole the money pouch at your waist. Bandits of today hollow out your entire being, turning you from a spirited, handsome man into a silent tool. So, stop thinking that a wedding dress represents love, because some women use marriage as a weapon. They are not flying the banner of spending the rest of their lives together, but calculating a legal extortion.
天哪！
Oh my god, no guys actually showed up to the matchmaking event in Suzhou. I really can't believe it. The attendees were all single women, and many of them had a mental breakdown. So why would men rather stay single than go on blind dates? Do they not plan to get a wife at all? There is a netizen's metaphor that I find really vivid. He said it's just like dishes in a restaurant. What are the leftovers? They are the dishes that couldn't be sold. So why did all the other dishes sell out? So what exactly are the dishes left behind? First, the presentation of the dish is bad. Second, the taste of the dish is bad. Third, the dish is too old and too tough to chew. The main point is the fourth one look and you know this dish has been eaten by someone else. Fifth, these dishes are clearly mediocre but are sold at a particularly high price. Then another netizen said that men are under so much pressure nowadays, busy working and making money all day. Men without money won't go because even if they do, they stand no chance, and rich men are even less likely to go eat leftovers. Do you guys think this is right?
真的不知道我老公这是怎么了。
I really don't know what's wrong with my husband. Friends, please help me analyze this. What do you think is wrong with him? It happened last night after he came back from his night shift. It must have been a little past 1, definitely not yet 2 o'clock. After he came in and took off his clothes, he wanted to come into my room to sleep. I felt that since it was already past 1, wouldn't sleeping together affect the quality of sleep too much? So I told him to go sleep in his own room because we have been sleeping in separate rooms for a long time, probably about 4 or 5 years now. But he wouldn't listen and insisted on coming in, so I blocked him outside the door. I said it's so late. Sleeping together really affects our rest too much. You won't sleep well, and neither will I. Plus, we both have work tomorrow. It's terrible not to rest well. He didn't say anything, went to his room, and slammed the door shut. When I got up this morning, I found he had sent me a message saying, let's just leave our relationship like this from now on. You handle your business, I'll handle mine. Except for matters regarding the child, don't look for me for anything else in the future, and don't call me. Just such a short message. Then I pushed open the door to his room and found he was already long gone, not at home. The quilt was folded neatly. I thought I'd give him a call, but he didn't answer even after I called several times. I thought I'd send a message in case he didn't see the call, but he hasn't replied to any of the messages I sent. Now I'm wondering, what on earth is going on? How did it end up like this? You tell me, for such a trivial matter, is it necessary for him to make such a big fuss? Right? Isn't it just about sleeping? Sleeping in his room or my room, isn't it all the same? Sleeping in the same room in the middle of the night really affects sleep. Can't he understand that? So, up to now, I still haven't figured out what's happening. Anyway, he won't answer the phone or reply to messages. I'm sitting downstairs right now because I went home to check, and he still hasn't returned, and I just don't know what I should do next. He won't answer calls or WeChat, and there's no way to communicate. Besides, don't you think this is something where we should understand each other? Is there even any need for communication? Friends, tell me what I should do now. Is my husband seeing someone else outside? What on earth should I do?
能让女人上瘾的从来不是爱情本身。
What makes a woman addicted is never love itself. For women, love is not as good as sex, and sex is not as good as the ultimate experience you bring her. Why can some men make women break their own boundaries time and time again? Why is she willing to stay out late at night for that man? The answer is that the body cannot lie. When a woman says she loves you, her heart may still be hesitating. But when her body chooses to open up to you, this recognition is more real than all vows. Neuroscience tells us that sex can activate the brain's reward center, and the anticipation and uncertainty brought by stimulation can increase dopamine secretion to 200%. Therefore, smart men understand: provide satisfaction but create craving first, provide answers but pose questions first, ignore the destination and enjoy the journey first. Often, anticipated pleasure is more pleasurable than the pleasure itself. So, the key to making a woman addicted lies in how to create this sense of experience. The answer is craving in the left hand and satisfaction in the right. If there is only sex, it will become tasteless chicken ribs, something of little value to her. If there is only craving, it will become an unreachable fantasy for her. Only when craving and obtaining coexist will you become the man she cannot forget. Remember, craving is telling her you are alive, stimulation is telling her how happy you are. And the most satisfied woman never has to choose between happiness and being alive. Marriage: buy one get one free. Marry the older sister and get the younger sister. Do you dare to marry? It is truly ridiculous. Today, a girl born in '99 came to me. She is a high school graduate working in an electronics factory in Ningbo, and her hometown is in rural Chongqing. She said she and her sister agreed to get married together and wanted to find the same husband, and that this kind of custom is very normal in their hometown, which shocked me directly. After I explicitly stated that this was not okay, the girl said then they could only look for a family with 2 brothers. Let's just say, is there really such a ridiculous custom?
And before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers from all around the world is a huge inspiration for us. Thank you so much. We have just journeyed through stories that are incredibly raw, realistic, and at times, heartbreaking realities of modern love. From sky-high bride prices and transactional negotiations in the marriage market to men's fear of being played for fools and the belated loneliness of successful women. It seems that love is increasingly being commodified, weighed and measured on financial scales rather than felt by the heart. But my dear friends, what is the greatest lesson after all these debates? It is this: do not let calculation kill sincerity. Men are not actually afraid of sacrifice. They are only afraid that their sacrifice is taken for granted. Women are not wrong to desire stability, but the most lasting stability must be built by the hands of both partners, not by parasitizing on someone else's life. We are so busy looking for someone who meets the conditions that we forget to find someone who meets our heart. Don't let toxic social media formulas turn you into a calculator in relationships. True happiness is not found in a Dior bag or a night at a 5-star hotel. It is found in the fact that when the storm comes, the person beside you does not let go of your hand. Let's subtract a bit of material expectation and add a bit more understanding and sharing. Find someone who brings you peace, not pressure. Because in the end, a big house is just a place to sleep, but a person who truly cherishes you is the place you call home. Love with a warm heart, but keep a clear head, and most importantly, be the most valuable version of yourself before expecting it from others.